in the silence of a fading ice age, when the great glaciers still guarded the northern lands and the winds carried the memory of endless hunts, something began to stir within the human spirit. For countless generations, humanity had followed the rhythm of the seasons, chasing herds, gathering fruits, always moving, always searching. But now, the world itself was changing. The ice retreated, the earth softened, and new life began to emerge from the fertile soil. It was here, in the quiet valleys and riverbanks of an awakening planet, that humankind made one of its most transformative discoveries. The seed, small, fragile, and full of potential, would change the destiny of our species forever. At first, it was a simple observation. The foragers noticed that where grains had fallen the previous season, new plants emerged. They began to understand that life could be guided, not merely found. Slowly, instinct turned into intention. Hands that once threw spears began to plant. The hunt gave way to the harvest. This was not an instant revolution, but a slow awakening. A dialogue between human will and the earth's generosity. Across regions like the Fertile Crescent, the Nile Valley, and the Yellow River, people began to nurture the soil, protect it, and depend on it. The earth, once feared and unpredictable, became a trusted ally. With the first crops came stability. Villages began to rise where people had once camped for a season. Clay huts and woven roofs appeared along riverbanks, anchored by fields of wheat, barley, and millet. The air carried the scent of wet earth and smoke from new hearths. Each dawn brought not the uncertainty of the hunt, but the rhythm of cultivation, planting, tending, waiting, harvesting. Yet, with this newfound stability came new challenges. Seasons could fail. The rains could betray. The soil could wither. Humanity learned that mastery of the land came with responsibility, a fragile balance between giving and taking. In the hands of early farmers, the relationship between humans and nature deepened into one of both reverence and control. The rhythms of life began to change. Time was now measured not by migration or movement, but by growth, by the slow pulse of the seed. The first calendars were born from the cycles of planting and reaping. The stars became guides, not for hunters on the move, but for farmers rooted to their land. Agriculture reshaped everything. Food surpluses allowed populations to grow. Communities became larger, more organized. Tasks were divided. Some tended the fields, others crafted tools, stored grain, or protected the settlement. Cooperation evolved into structure, and structure into society. And with the abundance came trade. Villages began to exchange their harvests for stone, obsidian, and salt. The first networks of exchange took root, binding distant peoples through necessity and trust. The gift of the seed had become the foundation of civilization. But this transformation was not only physical, it was spiritual. Humanity began to sense an unseen connection between life and renewal. Deities of fertility, rain, and harvest appeared in stories and rituals. The act of planting became sacred, a mirror of creation itself. The soil was no longer just the ground beneath one's feet. It was the source of life, the womb of the world. In the evenings, as the sun sank behind the fields, early farmers would gather around fires, sharing bread made from their own harvest, a taste of permanence in a world that had once been fleeting. Children grew up knowing the same river, the same fields, the same seasons. For the first time, humanity belonged not to the journey, but to a place. Generations passed, and the knowledge of cultivation spread like the wind. From the Middle East to Africa, from Asia to the Americas, the secret of the seed transcended language and distance. Each culture adapted it to its soil, its climate, its gods, yet the essence remained the same. life could be grown, sustained, renewed. This was the dawn of agriculture, a silent revolution that would reshape the planet. Forests were cleared, rivers redirected, animals domesticated. Humanity had become a creative force of nature, capable of transforming the landscape itself. The seed had given rise to villages, and the villages would one day give rise to cities, kingdoms, and empires. But perhaps the greatest legacy of this age was not the abundance of food, nor the permanence of settlement. It was the birth of foresight. The farmer looked to the horizon and saw the future, imagined what could be, and worked toward it. Patience, planning, and persistence became the new tools of survival. And so, in every handful of soil, in every grain of wheat, lies the memory of that first awakening when humanity learned not only to survive, but to shape its destiny. This was the beginning of the bond between humankind and the earth, a bond that still defines us today. Stay with us on this journey through the origins of civilization. If you've been inspired by this glimpse into our ancient past, like this video and subscribe to keep the story of humanity alive, one chapter at a time.